50,000 from Bruce.
Here we go.
I call.
And it's called.
All right, let's get a showdown, boys.
Biggest pot of the tournament so far.
All right, I can't wait to see this hand.
Aces, top pair. Club flush.
River to flush.
King. Club flush Bruce. And he wins a huge pot. And is taking the chip lead.
All right, so I had it backwards. It was Butch, the cool guy, who gave the free card. If Butch would have bet strong enough to protect his hand on the turn, Bruce probably would have folded his drawing hand and not be stacking the chips right now. Why didn't Butch bet to protect his hand on the turn? My guess is that he was trying for a cheap showdown because he was worried that his pair of aces with the 8 kicker was beaten by a pair of aces with a better kicker. In other words, Butch was afraid he was dominated, so he played this hand timidly. This is just another reason why I don't play dominated hands. The key lesson here is to avoid giving free cards. Before we go on to the next lesson, let's consider what Butch's play would be if Bruce had checked on the river. In this case, Butch should clearly check. If Butch bets, he will only be called if Bruce can beat his hand. Many novice players make the mistake of continuing to bet medium-strength hands after the river card. Your opponents never make mistakes when you bet those medium-strength hands. If they have you beat, they're going to call. If they don't have you beat, they're going to fold. In this case, there's no upside for betting, only a downside. Only bet after the river if that bet can make you money.
Butch's first act. Still steaming a bit from the last hand.
Looks like cool guy's on tilt, and he's likely to play too many hands and play them too aggressively. I want to take advantage of this.
Raise 50,000.
He's going to raise it to 50,000 straight away.
I'm just going to call here. I have position on Butch for the rest of the hand, and I believe this raise is large enough to chase out the blinds.
So Gordon calls.
Again.
And he passes. Bruce passes.
Fold, Chris, fold. Let me have this guy heads up. All right, perfect.
Ferguson passes. Heads up, Pop. Flop is queen 5-3 now to Butch. Butch bets 35,000.
That is a tell. He is showing a classic example of acting strong to compensate for a weak hand. This is very reliable when a player is on tilt. The opposite is also true. Players with good hands will often try to act weak or unintimidating in order to invite a call. I'm going to trust my read on Butch and act on it.
Right. So Gordon's going to raise his pot.
The fact that I have position makes it easier for me to put Butch to the test.
Makes it 200,000.
I'm going to give you credit this time.
No call. Phil Gordon wins the pot.
Good lay down.
Does good lay down.
One difference between good players and great players is that the great players make a read of a situation and then they're willing to act decisively on it. A lot of players could have picked up on Butch's sell, but not many would be willing to commit a large chunk of their stack to act on it. Believe me, it's scary to make a big bluff or call down a big bet with a weak hand, even when you know in your gut that you're right. But to be a great player, you've got to be willing to act on your reads. All right, let's take a look at the updated chip count. Whoa, nice chip trick, Butch. Butcher's donated 2/3 of his chips. Most of them went to Bruce, who now has a dominating lead with about twice the chip stack of his nearest competitor. That'd be me. But I've still got 30 big blinds and enough time to pick my battles. All right, let's get back to the table. You can almost see the steam coming out of Butch's head right now. Ace-6 offsuit. I'm going to fold here. If I raise 3 times in a row, It's very likely another player will challenge me. I don't want to be challenged with this dominated hand.
Phil folds. Booth is also out. It's Chris Ferguson. Chris raises the pot. Makes it 60,000. Well, and Butch calls.
Chris is probably wondering what I'm wondering. What the hell is Butch smooth calling with?
Flop is King 7 Deuce. 3 different suits. Ferguson's first. And Chris bets 70,000.
Make it 170.
170,000. And Chris calls.
Butch is in big trouble. When a great player like Chris smooth calls a raise out of position, hear alarm bells ringing.
Turn card is a deuce. King 7, deuce, deuce. Chris checks it.
All in.
All in.
I call.
And Chris Ferguson's called.
Oh,
Sorry, Butch.
yeah, sorry, Butch.
7's full. Chris Ferguson.
Wow, Butch fell in love with his top pair and he walked right into the trap.
Kings and deuces with a queen for Butch. Card left is an ace. Butch has been eliminated by Chris Ferguson.
Butch played his top pair like a rookie and he went broke with it. He fell in love with his pair of kings and he ignored what was an obvious warning sign. The smooth call by Chris after the flop. Look, I know it's really tough to lay down the top pair, but then again, nobody said winning tournaments was easy. Avoid this common rookie blunder. Don't go broke with one pair. Bad players make the same mistakes over and over. Poker players that can exploit bad players and their mistakes will win. Here are some of the most common mistakes that bad players make. They don't bluff enough. They overvalue top pair, just like Butch did in the previous hand. They don't bet enough when they're bluffing to make their opponents fold, and they don't bet enough when they have a good hand to chase out the drawing hands. They call too much instead of folding or raising. They play too timidly in the middle stages of a tournament or just before they're in the money. They telegraph the strength of their hand with tells. They go on tilt. They allow their emotions to overwhelm their judgment, and they end up broke, just like Butch. Let's update the chip count. Butch went from chip leader to fourth place finisher in less time than it takes to spell T-I-L-T. Chris has taken the chip lead, but Bruce and I aren't far behind. Harmony's going to need to win some pots soon, or the blinds are going to eat her up.
All right, we're back. 20,000 with a $3,000 ante.
So much quieter now for some reason. That's a clown crowd.
It's up to Phil Gordon.
Big slick again. Gotta play this hand. Gotta come in for a raise.
He raises it to 100,000.
I'm raising a little bit more than I usually would because I've been playing a lot of hands. I really want them to think that I'm trying to steal.
I'm all in.
Harmony just moves all in.
Figures. Even though Harmony has the shortest stack of the table now, she's definitely not in desperation mode. For her to raise all in, she's got to have a pretty strong hand.
I call.
Wow. Called.
Wow. Bruce called 290,000 out of position? He's got a great hand.
Back to Philip Gordon.
It's time to think. I've got to call just under 200,000 to win over 750,000. That's giving me pot odds of 3.5 to